how the same gender as me felt for me, how I felt about it, and how I handled it. Before I start, I am not a judgmental person, so these encounters that I had, I wasn't like, Satan, away. I was just like, huh? But I was like, okay. Anyways, I chose not to be mean because I didn't see the reason why I needed to be mean to these people when I had these encounters. And if you think about it, was Jesus ever mean? Like, did Jesus ever used to tell off people like, oh, so I prostitute you? Jesus was kind to everybody. So who am I to judge and who am I to be mean? So let's get into the story. It was 2016. I had just completed my university, but I still had a dissertation to do. I was in the same city as my grandmother. I decided to go to her place because I thought to myself, once I leave this city, I will never see my grandmother again, because I never used to visit my grandmother when I was in the other city where I used to live. She is the one who used to come through with my grandpa and visit us instead, and we never ever went to visit her. And whilst I was in that city too, it was rare for me to visit her. I used to visit, but it was rare, but at least I used to visit her. So this time I told myself, let me stay with Granny as I'm doing my dissertation, so that I can spend as much time as I can with her. That was 2016. And the thought I had was, let me spend so much time with her. I don't know why this thought popped up, but I was like, let me spend so much time with her before she passes, because the next thing I'll hear is Granny is dead, and I'll start regretting like I wasn't spending time with her. And if you watch my video where I was narrating why I didn't attend my grandma's funeral, you will find that the following year she actually passed. My cousins gave my granny, or used to give my granny, clothing and shoes to sell, so that whatever money she would make out of that, she would buy whatever she needed before my cousins would take things when they were able to, for example groceries or whatever granny needed. So I noticed that the clothing and shoes that they used to give her, most of the people in that area, they weren't the right target market, and people rarely used to buy, and it was very rare. Business was so slow. Granny always used to put these clothes and shoes outside the yard, and I would always sit outside with her to sell this clothing and the shoes, unless if I'm inside the house doing chores, then I would leave her outside. So I thought to myself to say, you know what, Granny, I told her to say, I think I have an idea. Like, I want to get some of these clothing and shoes and go to town and see the response and see if they'll sell. And if they'll sell, I feel like it's better if I can be going to town whenever I'm able to, then I sell the clothes. Because my granny was too old. She was too old. I wasn't even going to suggest like, you should be coming with me or you should be going to town. I'm the one who actually suggested that I would be going to town. So the following morning, I got a traveling bag, packed some clothing and some shoes. So that clothing was suitable for younger ladies and not, you know, elderly women. Yeah, so I went into town, and my plan for that day was I'm gonna target students, like students from colleges and universities. So I asked around because I wasn't familiar with the town. I wasn't that familiar, but as you are passing around town, you would obviously see some places and say, oh, this is a college, this is what. So for those that I wasn't familiar with, I actually asked around from people, and they showed me to say there's actually a college by that corner, and that was a college that I started with, and this is where the story is going now. And trust me, I'm not the kind of person who shies away or I'm ashamed to do something because I'm scared of people looking down on me like, no, they're gonna say, hey, we found her in the streets selling. Like, if I need to hustle, my friend, if it's bringing me money, I will hustle. And if I need to hustle in order for me to survive, I will hustle. Because in this world, my friend, if you don't want to get your hands dirty, you will not. How are you going to survive? How are you going to sustain yourself? So I wasn't ashamed. I actually found students outside. Luckily, they weren't in class. We found them. I introduced myself as Esther. Esther is my mother's name. Granny gave it to me because I look exactly like my mother. So when my mom passed, Granny gave me the name Esther. So I normally used to use Esther sometimes when I want to. So I told them I'm Esther. I introduced myself. I have some clothing here. I have some shoes. Yeah. So the girls started looking around, and they bought. They did buy. They bought clothes. They bought some shoes. They bought like almost everything that I went with, but not everything. And I was happy. I was like, this is a good response. I'll be doing this more often. So the students asked for my number, and I got some of their numbers because they were like, in case you have some new things, please let us know. I go back home, it's in the evening, I receive a text message from one of the students. We're gonna call this student Agatha. So Agatha texts me and she's like, hey, this is Agatha. I don't even know if you remember me, but you came to my college. And then I'm like, I do remember you. How can I not remember you? So I told her I remember her because she was like the most funny there. She was the most noisy, and I like such people. Like, she was just noisy and she was funny, and she seemed as if she's very fun. So I was like, how can I forget you, Agatha? You're a noisemaker. I can't forget you. Then she laughed. She was like, I'm glad you remember me. So Agatha goes on to say, you know what, Esther, you're very beautiful, and I don't want to beat around the bush, but I like you. So like, oh, thank you so much. And I told her to say, you're actually very beautiful too. Like, this girl was very, very beautiful. Then she's like, I don't think you know what I mean. I mean, like, I like you. Not that liking for on the surface. Like, liking you down to the ocean floor. Then I was like, oh, yeah. So I was like, oh, thank you so much. I am so flattered. Like, that was the first time. Okay, I'm not gonna get into detail, but I'll just say that was the first time, like, that was the first time that the same gender as me, like, actually talked to me about something like that. So I was like, thank you so much. I'm so flattered, Agatha. I like you too, but I don't swing that way. I wasn't mean to her, like I had said in my introduction. What reason would you have to be mean to someone? I wasn't mean to her. I just made it clear to her I don't swing that way. I'm surprised that you're actually surprised that I like you, because I thought you saw how I was behaving around you, the signals I was giving you, and I'm like, there were even signals. That's the problem. Like, when someone likes you and they think you like them back, they would actually think, you know, you noticed everything they were doing. I didn't notice everything. So you didn't notice how I was talking to you. I was only talking to you, how I was behaving around you. So like, so her being the noisy person and fun person she was trying to impress me, and I was like, oh, okay. So I told her to say, I don't mind us being friends. Like, I don't mind if we can just be friends. And we became friendly with each other. Like, we just used to text, would chat, would hold a proper conversation, just chatting about normal things. And I actually even introduced her to one of my friends, and they actually became friends. Yeah, not like friends, but they also became like friendly with each other. Have you ever faced such an encounter before? If so, how did you handle it? How did you react? How did you feel about it?